Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversation that includes respect for opinions, facts, and diversity. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeese Wheeler Attorneys, Ponderosa Republican Women, and Rana Paint.
Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you'll find news, views, and conversation. I'm Ryan McNeese. On this episode, we'll have the opportunity to discuss diabetes with Sue Lonnie Matson on Better Health, followed by real estate talk and the discussion of increasing the value of your home and construction issues, followed by myself sitting down with Robin Nance and discussing her organization, Teen Closet, that benefits the lives of teenagers in our community. Then, Cindy Haval on the front porch.
Ponderosa Republican Women is a club with members that come from every part of Spokane County. Although they differ in age, occupation, ethnic background, and cultural heritage, these women and many men stand together to promote government based on conservative principles, discover lifelong friendships, meet elected officials and candidates, hear challenging speakers, receive campaign training, and learn about the electoral process. Our meetings take place on the second Thursday of every month. Follow Ponderosa Republican Women on Facebook for more information.
I'm here today with Chris Maynard, who is CEO and founder of Glucose Revival, also a firefighter and EMT, and I think a lot of people would be surprised to find out that you are an active firefighter and you live with diabetes.
Yeah. And
there's a story behind that, and that story has led to Glucose Revival. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that company is doing and how that works with diabetes?
Sure. I've been a Type 1 firefighter, Type 1 and a firefighter for the last 20 or so years. And so what I've done is I've taken what we use on scene to help with the most common emergency, low blood sugars, and applied it within our necklace. And
you've got the necklace on right there.
I got the necklace on, and the basic component of it is it's a tube with gel in it, and so it's easily just squeezed out. And it's got the end caps to where it can squeeze through the caps, and we'll put it on the fingers and massage it on the gums, which is the exact same way we as EMTs will administer it. And
so you're carrying your own 911 with you.
Right. And so you're not needing to wait those critical minutes for the EMT crews or firefighters to arrive to be able to help. Now you have it at hand.
I think one of the most interesting parts of your story when we interviewed on Better Health was how the insulin pump is what lets you go back to firefighting, and how far those have come just in the last 20 years.
Yeah. The advances have been incredible because it feels like now I have a pancreas again having my pump. It makes living that much easier. But with that too, what happens that they have found on insulin pumps is that people almost overcorrect. When a blood sugar is too high, you take too much insulin, which is causing the low blood sugars. And so having something on me, or just diabetics having something on them, the American Diabetes Association recommends every diabetic carry something on them. And so this gives us that ability to be able to take care of that low blood sugar as it
because the low blood
drops.
Sugar causes an emergency issue. It's not. Too high insulin will be a problem over time, but
right.
The low blood sugar has to be corrected immediately.
Right, and that's why it's the most common emergency that we face as EMTs. And so no one will know one way or another if someone's got a high blood sugar, because you won't see that till years to come. But the low blood sugars is what we see and what we recognize. Okay.
Well, the blue circle was also something new for me, and that is that symbol for diabetes awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that people notice that. We're going to come up to a break here in a minute. When we come back, and we'll talk a little bit more about the future of the company, Glucose Revival, and what you've got scheduled coming up this fall.
Mm-hmm.
So now we'll take a break for our sponsor, and we'll come on back.
Great.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler, Attorneys.
Okay, Chris, so you have a launch for this product to make it available. Tell us a little bit about the timing you've got in mind.
Yeah, we're excited because November is Diabetes Awareness Month.
Okay.
And so we've put everything together to be able to launch in November to make it available. People's been following me for a couple years, waiting and wanting this tool for them to be able to help. And so we're excited to finally get to that point to launch it and make it available to them.
And it's not going to be a prescription. You're not going to have to buy it through healthcare. It's going to be because you're focused somewhat on the cost of what it is to live with diabetes.
Right. Because we do pay 2.5 times the cost as non-diabetics. And so
Of healthcare costs.
Correct. And I've made it a point to where we're going to sell it directly to consumers ourselves to keep that cost down.
And your website is?
glucoserevival.com.
Okay, and I believe you said you were also going to have it available through Amazon and really
Correct.
hit the mass market. Now, we got a little bit of time left. Tell us a little bit about where you'd like to take the necklace in future, from just a kind of a static, here's the glucose for that low blood sugar condition, and the next steps will be?
Yeah, we have 3 phases. This is phase 1, the basic necklace. Phase 2, we plan on implementing a Bluetooth onto the pendant, to where the pendant now is communicating with the CGM.
Continuous glucose monitor.
Correct. And when it does that, it will alert me by a light signal and by an audible noise to let me know I have a low blood sugar or the ones around me. Whereas phase 3, if I don't acknowledge it, now it's automatically calling 911 on your cell phone. And so these are avenues that we're taking it, because fortunately we were able to win a grant through HSSA that helped us now put us in the running for a NIH grant. So.
Right. Well, all of this is going to help people who do have type 1 diabetes, who are insulin dependent, to live with more autonomy and hopefully cut their costs. And we appreciate the work that you're doing. We'll have to have you come back on our program on Better Health in November and give us an update.
And let me it'll be type 1 and type 2, anyone on insulin.
All right. Anyone on insulin. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Next up on Business Talks, I'll have an opportunity to sit down with Robin Nance and discuss her organization, Teen Closet.
Ponderosa Republican Women is a club with members that come from every part of Spokane County. Although they differ in age, occupation, ethnic background, and cultural heritage, these women and many men stand together to promote government based on conservative principles, discover lifelong friendships, meet elected officials and candidates, hear challenging speakers, receive campaign training, and learn about the electoral process. Our meetings take place on the second Thursday of every month. Follow Ponderosa Republican Women on Facebook for more information.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese, and we're here in the studio with Robin Nance, the founder of Teen and Kid Closet, and also longtime anchor, KXOY. Thank you, Robin.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We had you on the show last year, and we continue to talk over the last year of bringing you back because so much is happening and continues to happen with Teen and Kid Closet. Number one, you're doing quite a bit of rebranding as we speak. Tell us about that.
So about 6 months ago, we combined forces with another organization. So we, for 10 years, had been just Teen Closet, in which we cared for just teenagers in foster care, teenagers in poverty, and homeless teenagers. But we combined with another group. It was called the Clothing Perk, because they handled the little kids. Right. So they took care of and clothed babies through 12-year-olds, and we carried on. But we just really felt that it was best served the community all together and under one roof, much easier for families.
To bring all the respective needs together in one spot.
Yeah, it's really been great. And so we moved to a new location. We had been out in the valley. We moved to a new location, 307 East Sprague, the old BSN Sports Building. Okay. And the KXOY Extreme team, Mark Peterson and his group, came in, knocked out some walls for us, really made it a beautiful, beautiful spot for kids to come and shop for free.
Well, obviously we all know it's an amazing organization, and you just touched on a second ago the concept really of collaboration and this concept in the beginning that you had some segregation between the different needs, and yet you brought that all under one roof. What are some other organizations within our community that you collaborate with on?
Well, it's really amazing. I have found that when we first started about 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, it was a nonprofit, every man for himself kind of thing. We're all vying for donation dollars. They're valuable and not, and everybody has to make a decision on where to hand out their money when they're coming to charitable organizations. But in the last few years, it's been amazing to see this kind of regrouping within the nonprofit world. So Embrace Washington, which is a fantastic organization. It was founded by Kevin Parker, former state senator, and is headed by a fantastic woman who is just a bull in a china shop when it comes to like getting things done. She's amazing. But they basically take care of everything when it comes to kids in foster care. They support, they throw parties for social workers, they do a giant Christmas party, they grant wishes to kids. It's amazing. And they always take us along with them. They always promote Teen and Kid Closet. They help us get some donations. So they have been wonderful. Safety Net, which helps kids when they age out of foster care. We clothe the kids that are aging out. They help promote us as well. We do lots of fundraisers together. Also Project Beauty Share, which is another fantastic local organization.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Well, I'm sure I'll butcher the example, but what's the starfish story in terms of the kid on the beach that said I couldn't possibly throw all these starfish, save all these starfish?
Save all of them.
Well, can I just save one? And but you are exemplifying that story that you're saving one at a time, contributing to the quality of their life one at a time, and you're feeling it, you're seeing it up close.
Absolutely. And I used to think like, oh, well, it's just clothes. It's not just clothes.
Right.
I mean, it really isn't. It's about dignity. It's about fitting in. It's about feeling special.
Right.
It's about not being made fun of or feeling self-conscious. These are kids who have so much going against them.
But so much potential.
But exactly. I had a girl who was, so I have a daughter. She's 15 and her name is Ryan.
It's a great name, by the way.
I would agree.
Right.
I love it. I had a girl who came into shop, 15 years old, named Ryan. I literally almost took her home that day, but she was between foster homes, and she was also going to be involved in the Mockingbird Society, which is a group of older teenagers in foster care who lobby the state and are a group that has a voice. And she said, I'm looking for a dress, something dressy to wear for a Mockingbird event, and I want to feel good. So we helped her. We found her all kinds of cool stuff, and it was all. She left thanking us repeatedly.
Well, perfect example of somebody, maybe a bit cliche, but that comes into a situation and leaves potentially a different person on a different path, potentially. Robin, thank you so much for being here. But what is the best way for folks to learn more about Teen Closet and Kids? Well, it's actually Teen and Kid Closet because of the rebranding.
Right. Yep.
How can folks find out more and participate more?
Well, I would love to have it. Spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word.
And any volunteers, any donations of any kind. We take very gently used clothes and brand new stuff. We usually post that all on Facebook. So Teen and Kid Closet on Facebook or teenkidcloset.org.
Well, and I would encourage individuals just to merely even Google what
it.
You're doing, because the images that are coming up, I think, illustrate and exemplify what you're describing, which is this is extremely professionally done. And I think for the kids and the confidence level, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me spread it.
Thanks for joining us. Next up on Real Estate Talk with Ken Sachs, construction and increasing the value of your home.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler, attorneys.
Hi folks, Ken Sachs here with Real Estate Talks. I'm here with my guest, Corey Spolsky with Gold Crown Construction. We're talking about sellers. This is a seller's market, and inexpensive and effective things sellers can do to their home to prepare it for the market where they can make the most money, sell it for the most money without breaking the bank, if you will. So, Corey, I want to talk about, one of my favorite rooms in the house, the kitchen. And, this is something I learned, and I love this, and I want you folks to hear this. Countertops. We walk into a house, and it's that 80s house, right, with the wood paneling and dark wood, and, it's like, oh. And the countertops are that lime green kind of vinyl countertops, and the seller is saying, well, gosh, Ken, I don't want to tear this out and put granite in. That's too expensive. I'm selling the house. Why would I want to put that kind of money in? Well, there's another alternative, and one I think you're going to really appreciate. Corey, I don't want to tear it out. What can I do?
If you don't want to tear it out and pay for the cost of a sink and a faucet, and have to do those plumbing things, you can just recoat the countertops. There's an epoxy coating that you can use that you can make it look like anything you want. If you want it to look like a solid surface countertop, you don't want it to look like granite. There's a lot of different things that you can do to make that house pop with that countertop. So, and it takes just a day to do it, and maybe $300.
Yeah, you bet. And the first time I saw it, I couldn't believe it. It blew me away. So I wanted you to hear about that. But then continuing on the counter, we have the backsplash. I don't want to put a whole backsplash. That's cost prohibitive, is it?
It's actually really inexpensive to do, and you can use inexpensive tile. You don't have to do something super fancy, and it can be done in about a day and a half, 2 days. To do it, you might spend, anywhere from $300 and up in labor, and maybe the cost is $200, $100 for the tile. So maybe you might have $500 into the whole thing, or if you go more exotic, you can go up. So
sure.
I try to keep with simplicity and trying to keep things kind of neutral. So
good, love it. So you think about that lime green countertop, and now we've replaced that lime green countertop, and the one we did for this seller was kind of a pebble kind of design. It was gorgeous. And that was about $375, and then maybe $200 plus, so maybe another $500. So less than $1,000, brand new countertop, brand new backsplash. You're going to create that pop. Corey, love the tip. So,
cool.
Folks, here comes a word from our sponsors. You've been listening to Real Estate Talks with Ken Sachs. Welcome back. Again, I'm your host, Ken Sachs. You are listening to Real Estate Talks with my guest, Corey Spolsky, Gold Crown Construction. So we're talking about sellers, things you can do that are inexpensive, yet really effective when you want to sell your house. So you can sell your house for the most amount of money without breaking the bank. So love the things we've been talking about. I want to talk about now about flooring. You walk into the house, and again, we walk into that 80s house, and Corey, I'm not going to drop $50,000 to sell my house.
Yeah.
So what are some things you see with regards to flooring when you are out in the field working with homeowners?
Most of the time is what I see people that have not created any kind of flow in their house. They have parquet flooring in the entry, or a tile, or a vinyl, and then they got this carpet over here, and then they've got hardwood down the hallway, and then maybe they got a different kind of tile in the kitchen, and whatnot. So
almost like at different times they did a room.
Yep. Or carpet in the bathroom.
Don't say bathroom. Carpet in the bathroom.
Yeah, carpet in the bathroom. Yep. That's a Northwest thing. Yep. They didn't have that in Tennessee. So,
Okay.
the biggest thing that I would do is create flow. And the best thing to create flow is really limit your flooring surfaces. I try to go, two. You have one carpet, so you got fuzzy side, and then you've got a hard surface. And I like to use luxury vinyl plank. It's super cost effective. It's not a huge amount of cost for it. It's waterproof. People love it. It looks great. It gives you that pop.
And there have been vast improvements with
Vast
quality.
improvements, yep.
And it's not
Yep.
going to break the bank.
Yep, it's different than your old wood laminate. The wood laminate in the past was, was a wood product, and it had sawdust, and it was just made out of glue and sawdust. And once it got wet, it got ruined. And so a lot of times people think of plank as that nowadays. Now it's really switched over. The market switched over to vinyl planks, and vinyl planks are completely waterproof. They're stable. They're very, very durable. In fact, a lot of times when you go to your grocery stores or your shopping areas, look on the floor and you'll see it. That's
Love it.
Vinyl plank.
Sellers, remember, your senses are numb. You've been seeing your rooms for as long as you've lived there. Buyers walk in, they're uneasy. They don't want to buy the house. They don't like it. They don't know why. You want them to like it, feel comfortable. Listen to Corey. You've been listening to Real Estate Talks with Ken Sachs. We'll see you again.
Cindy Haval is a freelance columnist and correspondent for the Spokesman Review and author of War Bonds, Love Stories from the Greatest Generation. The view from her porch is usually sunny.
My husband discovered the remains of a previous civilization while building a retaining wall at the back edge of our property. "Look what I found," he said, cradling his discovery in his hands. Poor Lightning McQueen had definitely seen better days. His front wheels and both headlights were missing. His rear tires were packed with dirt, and his big eyes peered from the windshield through a thick coating of dust. His once sparkly red paint job had faded into orange. When we first bought our home in 1993, both the front and the backyards were a mess of weeds and clover. Derek tackled the front first, so the boys took over the back. For years, squirt guns, skateboards, bicycles, and toys littered the backyard. When our 4 sons grew tired of playing with things with wheels or toys, they took up digging in a back space near the edge of our property where the previous homeowner had attempted to garden. I worried about the holes they dug with plastic shovels being too deep or the tunnels they dug being too long, but Derek said, "Boys gotta dig," and dig they did. But soon they grew tired of playing in the dirt, and then they grew up. And then the oldest 2 moved out. Gradually, we've been reclaiming the backyard and making it our own oasis. The retaining wall is just another step in the beautification process. Now Derek had stumbled upon a toy graveyard while building it. "I've been finding a lot of little green army men too," he said, "but I rebury them with full honors." But it didn't seem right to leave Lightning McQueen in an unmarked grave, especially since it looks like he'd been the victim of a violent crime. Someone had scrawled "Help me" in permanent marker on his hood, leading us to believe he'd been the victim of a carjacking. The printing looks just like our second son's. And our youngest son, Sam, was a huge fan of the movie Cars. He had the whole Radiator Springs playset and a full fleet of cars from the film. But his favorite was always Lightning McQueen. Derek went back to work on the wall, leaving the dirt-encrusted car on the deck railing. And weeks later, it's still there, parked facing our outdoor dining area, where Lightning can watch the boy who once loved him come and go. Last night, I saw his eyes shining through their dusty coating when Sam sat down to dinner. And then, I swear I saw old Lightning's smile.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversation. Please join us next week.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeese Wheeler Attorneys, Ponderosa Republican Women, and Rada Paint. We'll be back next week with additional news, views, and conversations. Please join us. So long for now.